Do you think anyone with face tats has appeared on an episode, like on anything on PBS yet?
Has Post Malone?
Post Malone, probably.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's like the most notable.
Okay. I see.
I mean, if it wasn't for how many non-Post Malone people have appeared on PBS who have tattoos on their face? Probably not many who aren't on like a PBS documentary for being like, this Appalachian town is so poor. That's like probably the only time.
Like a local lizard man or something.
Yeah. Oh, the Lizard Man. Of course, he's been on PBS. That guy's definitely been on PBS.
Oh, yeah. The science of tattoos.
I'm very sad I've never met the Lizard Man, because like every comedian in Austin has met him, and I was doing comedy in Austin for like a year, but he never graced me with his presence.
I just love that he loves stand-up comedy. That's so fucking funny.
He does stand-up comedy. He does it. He's like
does
into it. Yeah. He performs.
Is he like a micer or does he open?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they'll have them open or middle. A lot of people like to have local middlers and bring their own opener or whatever, whoever does whatever. And, you know, he would like, people would obviously bring him on or whatever because he's in the Guinness Book of World Records. It's fun to have this guy on stage or whatever. I don't know if he was funny or whatever.
If he bombs, he can just spit acid onto the crowd, much like Reptile.
It's the Twitter file.
Okay, and we are here inside of Western Kabuki. Welcome to it. Juniper, how are you?
I'm doing much better. Finally recovering from COVID. I'm feeling like 80% there. Pretty good.
Still positive. Still
yeah,
COVID
just
positive.
10 minutes ago, just tested positive still.
You're still CP. You still got CP. And Caleb. We got Caleb here. How you doing, Bird Respecter?
Doing fine.
And we are honored to be joined by the very beautiful two co-hosts of Radio Free Tote Bag. We've got Donovan. Don, how are you?
What's poppin'? I'm in smoky Chicago. I'm even croakier than usual.
Yeah. It's only slightly hazy here in Philly. The smoke wasn't too bad today. Audrey, how are you?
Pretty good. I'm quitting nicotine for the 35th time. So
Hell yes.
This is the one.
This one's going to do it.
All right, so we have brought on both of the hosts of Radio Free Tote Bag, a relationship podcast, to talk about relationships. We have all solicited questions from the beautiful listeners of Western Kabuki and Radio Free Tote Bag, and so we are going to discuss some of those things. All of us individually have been on RFTB, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's correct.
A full house.
Yeah. Yes. So we're very honored to have you guys on here.
Happy to be here.
Yes. So I think we should just get into these questions because I think the questions are going to be a really good guide through the conversation. And I love the first one dearly. So I do want to get into it. Juniper, I'm going to have to say this one's for you. This is from r/relationships. How do I get my husband to stop going goblin mode during sex?
Oh, boy.
TLDR, my husband says goblin mode activated when we start having sex. Growls and acts like a caveman and then says goblin mode off when we stop.
What a way to bust,
and then
man.
pretends to not remember.
Okay, can I admit something here?
Please.
So I've actually seen this before. This is like a year old. This is actually what inspired my original Goblin Mode post.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this is like the very first time I ever saw the phrase
So you
Goblin
made
Mode.
the what's her name? Julia Fox thing because you saw this post?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this was the very first thing that I ever saw with Goblin Mode in
rocks.
it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. For me though, I don't know. Like, this has obviously probably been resolved at this point. I can't imagine they're still together. This probably tore
No, this
through
is
their
fake.
relationship.
This is our / relationship. This is not real. This is definitely fake.
You don't think anything on there is real? You think that's all just fake?
I think 99% of it is fake, yeah. I mean,
Well,
I
hope
haven't
it's
been
real.
on there in a while, but the shit that used to be on there, they would just be like, hey, burner account for obvious reasons I fucked my brother. And it's like, y'all can't all be fucking your brothers. That can't be what
There's a
happened.
limit. Yeah, I guess there has to be a limit on that type of shit.
We go on there every
yeah.
week for our main feed episodes. We do listener questions. Our bonus episode, we do Reddit questions. And that's like what we started with. So we've been on our relationships for like 5 years now, the run of the show. I feel like a lot of them, maybe the majority being fake is accurate. We've had a couple times though with guests. We had Rax King on, if you know her author. She's one.
Oh, yeah.
She came on. I'm reading one, and she was immediately like, "This is fake. This is fake." And I was like, "Wait, no, but it's very fun. I want to believe it's real." And she's
Yeah.
like, "I'm sorry, it's absolutely."
I
fake.
mean, it's obviously fake. It's obviously fake, but I'll keep reading it. I really love my husband, and he's always been great in bed. Oh, wow. That's a weird thing to say in this context. But recently, he's been acting really weird. So a couple of days ago, my son went on a rampage through our house and said he was in goblin mode. We didn't really know what to do with him, so we sent him to live with my parents so he could go to a special needs school. Wow.
Just like that, huh?
Just like that.
God damn.
And so we shipped the little freak off.
Institutionalized.
My husband has a really great relationship with our son and loved him in the past tense even.
He's fucking dead.
That kid is dead to you.
Naturally, he was upset when he had to leave. He's an incredibly tough man, but this is the first time I've ever seen him cry. I think since then he's been a little emotionally unwell. I've heard him muttering "goblin" repeatedly when he didn't notice me, staring blankly into his food and just going alone by himself to do who knows what. Oh, he's killing people. You're
Goblin killer.
Goblin
Goblin
him
mode
into a
killer.
serial killer. I feel awful for him, but we both agreed that this was for the best. Last night, the day after our son went away, we decided to have sex to relieve our stress. However, my husband said goblin mode activated and started growling and went wild having sex with me. He said goblin mode activated, and you weren't immediately like, excuse me, hold on. We just had our son killed for doing this. Is this somehow related?
We got some wet work done on our child, and you're just gonna keep at it, huh?
Admittedly, it was some of the best, most experimental sex I've ever had. But I'm
Homie
worried
is slinging
that
pipe.
something. I mean, we've already
Goblin
established he's great in bed. He really puts it out there, leaves it all out on the pavement. I'm worried that something might be going on with my husband. Yeah, I would think so. Any advice? Edit. The problem isn't the goblin mode. It's that he could be ill. That is good stuff. That is
An amazing edit there.
That's
so good.
delicious.
I really hope that's real. I'm still holding out hope that that's real.
So if you guys covered this on your show a while back, do you know what general advice you had for the goblin motor?
I don't know that this one we covered, actually. I don't know.
Oh, really?
I don't think this is one we actually got to. I wish we had.
So what do you think?
I'm glad I know of it now. Jesus. So I think maybe you got to top it somehow. You know, he says goblin mode, you go orc mode and then try to eat him.
Urukai mode, you climb out of a wet sack, emerge soggy, and just start going at it.
Yeah.
The white hand of Saruman, but it's just cum.
Or
So you're saying there's nothing wrong with the relationship. She just has to become like she just has to match that energy.
Well, she doesn't seem like it bothers her, right? Like she's like, goblin mode's not the problem. Like she's loving this.
She's down
She's
for
into
that.
it.
And you've already sent the child away, so you can get as fucking weird as you want.
That's true.
she could do the reveal. She could do the reveal and like do something goblin-ish with her pussy, and then he won't see it until they're in the act.
What is something goblinish to do with your
One can
pussy
do more
whack?
pussy.
I think I was envisioning makeup. I was envisioning
Okay.
like green
I see. All right.
makeup around the pussy.
Red
and, like,
pubes.
Become Shrek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turn the pussy into Shrek. Maybe wear burlap panties.
Well, Shrek is an ogre, not a goblin. Let's get that out of the way.
Okay,
true.
sure. So she's going ogre mode, and she's got ogre the ogreessy that she's offering.
I support that. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll
no,
help.
that's salt.
That'll
salt.
solve it.
All right, so we have a real question here. This is from our number one hater. As a serious question, they preface it.
Yeah, this guy actually emailed us a couple times, and a lot of them were. Anyway, this is the serious one.
What is the best way to start a relationship? I'm very nervous about trying dating apps. I don't think the perfect partner is going to fall out of a tree anytime soon. What is a good place to find people who can be weird like me?
Let's see. Number one hater. You're like, you said this person is written in a few times.
Oh,
Do
yeah,
they
a bunch
usually
of
say
times.
mean shit?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Bizarre, but not mean.
It's just like it's just like their fun tag.
Their
here.
other question was like something about for dating was like, is an Olive Garden a good place to go for a third date? You know, the third date being typically historically the one that some people choose to fuck on. The problem was, I think that there was the question of unlimited breadsticks in play there.
Yeah, you're
Too
loaded
logy.
up.
You end up too logy.
Unless you're
So-
into that. That is a whole thing.
Fucking
so-
up debilitated by carbohydrates.
Yeah. Well, like, fuck. Why can't I think of the term for this? What's the philia where like you want feederism shit?
Yeah.
If you're into
Oh,
feederism,
right,
Olive
you're
Garden is a
right.
fucking place to be. You get that like.
Oh, is that what do you think maybe that's what he meant by as weird as him?
If he was proposing that for the
feederism.
third date, that is
No,
a
I don't
possibility.
think that's where he was going. I hope maybe I'm just projecting my own like please don't be true thing here. But I don't know, number one hater. We don't know enough about you.
You gotta go. Where do you like being weird? Like, because what I was gonna get at is you're writing into podcasts and stuff, and it's this podcast, so maybe you're like a Twitter person or something. Like, there's online communities that you could find people who are into similar shit. I know of people starting relationships that way. I've started at least one relationship that way. But beyond that, like, we get a similar question on our show a lot of like, how do I meet people or dating apps? I'm not having a lot of luck with. What do I do? And our like advice we keep giving people is, what's a thing that you like doing a lot? Go do a class or join a club of people who are doing that thing, because you got like ground immediately to start off from. You know, there's something to talk
Yeah.
about. You know, you got something in common off the bat. So what are you
Yeah,
into?
and
Go do that.
I got I added another question here. I'm going to read this one as well because it's very similar. But somebody DM'd this to me. They said, "Is being inexperienced a big deal? I'm in my early 20s and I've never been in a relationship. This was a deliberate choice in the past. I didn't think I had the time or energy to devote to a partner, and now I'm pretty confident in myself and have been looking into dating apps, but I am concerned about my lack of experience will come up as a red flag. I am a man looking for a woman of the same age, which I think is relevant. Is this something I should be upfront about?" And I think that, you know, a lot of the questions that I got asked were the exact kind of questions that I have no ability to answer, which are like, how do you meet people? I had a long
Well, you
conversation.
go to biology class, and she's there.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, you know. But I said something similar. I was like, why don't you like? Well, first of all, I said don't use any fucking dating apps because
I mean, fair.
Yeah, they're 80% men, 20% women, and
100% nasty.
Yes. Oh.
you're not pulling from a large group of people. A lot of women don't use dating apps because they don't want to get murdered.
Yep.
So that is, you know, a consideration. And yeah, that has been like all of my advice. I got a bunch of really like nice questions, but they were all basically like, how do I meet people? And I was basically like, touch grass. You need to leave the
Yes.
house.
You need to
non-derogatorily touch grass.
yeah. Get into a space where you're interacting with people that you don't already know. If that's a bar, that's maybe a different type of game that you're playing. But we find that getting involved with a club or a class or just any sort of activity where you already have a groundwork laid with the people around you is very beneficial for meeting people.
Fucking political organizing, going to concerts, like any place that it's going to be people who you've got something in common with off the bat. And that way you don't just have to walk up and be like, hi, are you into shit?
Do you enjoy smoking cigarettes and consuming alcohol?
Right.
You like being at this bar? Is this doing it for you?
Unless that's like really your hobby. Unless you're like a hobbyist drinker. And you'll
would be it would be a big dick move if you're like into cosplay to show up as like Diva from Overwatch at like a nightclub on a Friday night.
You would really blow everyone away.
Yeah, you meet some fucking people.
Yeah, you would. You really would. You really, really would.
Okay, new advice. Get into cosplay.
Get into cosplay.
And go to go to bars, go to restaurants, just hang out.
Yeah.
Go to Olive Garden and fucking cosplay.
But you
just walk up to people's tables at the Olive Garden.
You can't be weird, though. Like, the energy has to be right. You have to embody Diva. It can't be like Diva, but she's like, depressed and weird. You know what I mean? Like, you have to like embody the character that you're playing, and then you will meet people.
Diva, and she talks a lot about her dad.
I will defend the dating apps also, though, and not wholesale. But it can be a good place just for, again, you've got people on the same page of they're also looking to meet somebody. You're going to have varying success. Like, it's definitely easier for conventionally attractive people or photogenic people, right? Because like it is all snap judgments for most of them of just swiping through. And so if you're not that, or if you're somebody who, you want to connect more personality wise or like based on a similar interest or something, it might just burn you out. It's really easy to get discouraged when you're swiping through 100 people and you're getting fucking nothing back. Like, you also kind of got to just recognize that, like, Whack, you're saying there's a lot of fucking fake accounts or people who don't check it. Like, you can't get on a dating app and expect to get a billion matches and then you don't. And you're like, wow, it's because I'm a big unworthy piece of shit. It's like, no, it's a numbers game. And it definitely works better for like just conventionally attractive people. And if that's you, give it a shot. I mean, even if it's not, I think it's worth giving a shot, but don't put too much stake in it. We've had a lot of people write in being like, I keep striking out on these. Like, what's wrong with me? And it's like, it's not necessarily anything to do with you. They're just an imperfect thing. And that can't be the be all end all for your dating life.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have been sold a bill of goods on these dating apps that that these are the ways. This is the way and the only way that you can meet people, and you're really not being so kind to yourself when you use an app. Do you feel good every time you use Instagram?
Negative.
No, that's not like how you. That's not what it's there for, any more than Tinder is there for you to get laid. Tinder is there to sell advertisements, just like all of these, every other app in the world. And so
everything you've ever encountered in your life is designed to sell advertising.
So, don't put any stock in it at all. It is a scam.
It's funny, because you are very negative on dating apps, but there have been there's a lot of success stories too. And even if you're just like meeting, you can use like apps like Bumble to just like meet friends. There's not even dating options. You can like meet people. Like, I don't know. There are ways to do it. And there's a ton of different options to just like meet people without even like the intention to date first. So definitely, I say I agree with the two dating show hosts and not Whack to at least give it a shot.
I'm telling you not to do it. Stay the fuck off of there. They're trying to kill you.
Who are the ones here that host a dating advice show, Whack? I think I listen to them.
Damn.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're good for some things. They're good for like if you want to have a running conversation with someone for about 3 weeks and they ghost you. They're really good for that. They're really good for meeting somebody and deciding within seconds of meeting them at the bar that you've went to that you have absolutely no chemistry with them whatsoever, and then
That is
spending
a
3
bad
hours
feeling.
drinking next to them.
Well,
That's
no,
fun.
That's why you pull the fucking ripcord at 30 minutes, and you either
Yep.
do. I've done 2 or 3 of these. I'm, lucky not to have had any particularly like scary or like really bad dates. But I have had a few of that where I go in and you start talking, and immediately it's like, oh shit, there's nothing here. But I don't want to like hurt somebody's feelings. You got to do either you get a friend to call you and say you got to go somewhere, or you got to, and you kind of got to like be able to basically act that out if you don't want to hurt their feelings. Because if you like flub that, that's really fucking insulting to somebody.
My friend called me, so bye.
I gotta go do that.
And then conveniently never talk to you again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man. I do the 30-minute rule, or a 30-ish minute rule. I just tell them the truth. I'm not really feeling this, man. Like, I'm gonna take off. Like, does that make me an asshole? I always thought that was like the good thing to do.
I think
I
that
like
is-
it. I
yeah.
like it. And the thing that I always like to hit him with is like, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
That is good.
Because then they can it gives them the option to be like, yeah, you're right. And you go, okay, cool. So we're
Literally
we're good.
shook a woman's hand about 2 weeks ago on that exact agreement. Like, shook hands on it, finished our drinks, and said, "See you later."
Sayonara.
That's awesome.
That's so good.
That's awesome. You shook hands.
Yeah, shook hands and everything, dude.
It's so amicable.
Fuck, maybe I am the weirdo. All right, well, never mind.
I don't know.
No,
I like
it's great.
it. I like
It's great.
it. I'm gonna go for the handshake. from now
There's
on.
there's
That's
something
good.
very good in that directness, though, and you're also you're respecting their time by doing that. I don't know. I get a little in
You
my
can
head
play
in
it
them
either way,
situations. Yeah,
can
feel
play
it
it
out.
either
I like the directness if you've got the confidence to do that with somebody. Sometimes you just end up being friends. I have like 2 people
For
in my
sure,
life
dude.
actually. I met on dating apps, and there wasn't really anything there, but like we'd still talk and see each other. They're good people in my life.
That's a real
I've got to
thing.
say, I have actually never even considered that as an option, Caleb. I've never been on a date. I've never been on a first date. But I would be so scared and nervous of saying the wrong thing that it never occurred to me that you could just start the date by being like, I'm going to dip if this isn't cool.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
That's such a great way to do it.
No, I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, I think that you learn that when you say the wrong things so often as I have over the years, that it just becomes like, well, it's like that episode of It's Always Sunny where they try and like playbook the perfect date. You know what I mean? After a certain amount of times, it's just like, what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
100%. You throw in spaghetti at the
Yeah.
wall. You're trying to see if you have chemistry with this person, and why not? Try it out. Go match with some people. Note that if you are not matching with a whole lot of people, that is not a you problem, really. That is I use the term sexual marketability. If you're not getting those snap swipes, that has nothing to do with your value as a person, and nobody deserves a certain
You need to
percentage of
hire a
people to swipe
sexual
on them.
SEO consultant to get that
Yeah.
copywriting in your
Sure.
profile down.
Sure. We had a segment for a while where we were doing punch up on people's Tinder profiles. You'd send in your
yeah.
Tinder
We gotta bring
profile.
that
and
back.
that's good shit. And we would do punch up on them.
I would love to send you guys a Tinder profile of my friend. She's a big time femcel, and she has been like striking out. She's somebody I used to work with that I saw again recently. And I was like, hey, how are things? Yada, yada. And she's like, I can't fucking find a boyfriend. And I was like, why?
They're
are you
everywhere.
Well, that's the thing, is like if you're like a 22-year-old girl, you would not think that that's really a super common problem, but she's so shy.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
and she is like, I have a dating profile and I just never get swipes. Like I never get matches on dating profiles. Like I've never heard a woman say that ever. So I would very much like to see your profile. And she's like, yeah, I'll show it to you later. So I think I mean I could ask her if you if she can be featured on a podcast.
We usually do them on the Patreon. Yeah,
we can do one on the main
for an
though,
episode.
if it's somebody writing in one like that. Wait,
yeah. I'll talk to her.
This other person also, because the second question they had a little bit beyond just like wanting to date for the first time, like the inexperience thing specifically, especially because you're in your early 20s. Man, don't worry about that. You don't lead with that. Like you don't need to first date be like, haha, I've never been on a date before. I've never had a partner. That might like throw somebody in just that's kind of a strange thing to bring up immediately. But if you've gone on like a date or two with somebody and like you're liking them and it's going well and you start talking about dating history, you can talk about that. And like, especially the fact that you were like, I want to work on myself. I didn't have the time to devote to a partner. You're feeling more confident now. I think that speaks to like a really thoughtful person. And you're like putting the time in to work on things instead of just throwing yourselves into relationships and like hope that fixes everything. I think you're in a good place. And again, like early 20s, it's not crazy to not have much experience.
I find that the people with a ton of experience, by the time they've arrived at their early 20s, you're kind of like, what were you getting up to for the last 5 years?
Like me. I wouldn't have dated me in my early 20s.
No.
That was a fucking nightmare.
Same.
Yeah. That's a good point, too. I think that it can be as much a turnoff for some people as a turn on for others,
Yes.
And I think that's probably true of any quality in a vacuum, If it's like, should I shave my mustache to find a girlfriend?
No.
And it's like, well, depends on the kind of girlfriend you want, I guess. But it's like
very pro mustache.
Donovan said no. Hard no on Donovan. Donovan feels about mustaches, getting rid of mustaches the way I feel about using dating apps.
No.
I'll barely even comb my hair for a girlfriend. I'm not going to get rid of a mustache. Are you crazy?
I did end up talking. I ended up talking to the inexperienced person for a while, and we had a bit of a back and forth, being like, just me asking some specifics about like their experiences around like people they've met with so far and things, and what their intentions are and things. And they made it pretty clear that like they didn't really have like they didn't say it, but I kind of got the vibe that it maybe was a religious situation that like
interesting.
I mean, I don't know, but I also know that they do live not too far from me. They were like, I go to Philly to try to meet people, and I was like, oh shit, well you should come around here. Not that I want to hang out with a bunch of early 20-year-olds, but show you around or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
We wish you luck out there.
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't want me to read their name, but good luck.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Western Kabuki. I wanted to know what advice you got for old heads who are 35 plus. Is it over? Can we still bag the relationship, or do we need to start using contracts like brokers? This sounds like one for Alex.
Oh man, you really roping me into this? No, it's not. No, it's not over.
Better not be. I'm turning 35 in August.
It's so over.
Shit.
It's never been more over.
Fuck. I feel like your early 40s is where everybody who got married in their late 20s and early 30s starts to get divorced. So everyone's back on the fucking market.
That's a good point.
It's definitely what it sounds like. Like, obviously, I'm not quite there yet, but a lot of, at least when I was a kid, I had a lot of friends with divorced parents.
Yeah.
And they're out there somewhere, and they need dates also. It's definitely not over. Like, I
It's
think
never
this just,
over.
Yeah. I mean, all this stuff, it plays into, Western culture kind of idealizing young people and all of this stuff. And like, oh, you're past whatever age, you've hit the wall or whatever, like bullshit
That
incel
shit
talk
sucks.
you see on the fucking internet. Yeah, it's not fucking true. Dating can be discouraging at any age. And I think, if you're in a place of low confidence, and you're not having luck, it's easy to be like, well, this is because I'm over 35. It's all over now. And then you're just going to fucking spiral. And it's not because you're that age, though. It's because you've like completely hamstrung yourself in terms of confidence by telling yourself that it's over like this. So you got to just, it takes a lot of fucking patience. You're going to have more not great or boring dates than you are good ones. It's a fucking numbers game when it comes down to it. Yeah. For whatever fucking time period you're dating at, it's just be as confident as you can, get out there and look at dates, not as like God, this one has to work out, or like, I'm going to be alone forever. But just as like, I get to spend time with this stranger and who fucking knows, something cool could happen, or maybe they're real weird and I get like a story out of this. Or maybe we just have a nice conversation for a while and it's like cool to chat to a new person. Just try to take the pressure of I'm getting too old or whatever. Any kind of pressure like that, the more you can let that go, the less stressed the fuck out you're going to be on don't the more you're going to be able to play it cool, and you're going to have better luck and you're going to have a better time. So don't be down on yourself.
And plan cooler dates. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Like if you get into the planning of it and like deciding on cool things to do, then you not only are looking forward to spending time with this person, you are looking forward to the thing that you are to do on the date as well, which helps you stay relaxed and in the moment.
Yeah, go play paintball.
Yeah, fuck it.
A lot of people I know who are dating in their 40s, it's like, this person has probably gone out of a long-term relationship and they've learned a lot about what works and what doesn't work for them.
Yes.
That's a good thing to meet a person who feels that way. Second of all, there are people who have disposable income and you don't have to go to play fucking air hockey on your date. You can like actually go do something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not over, dude. Just beginning.
Fucking A.
This is a conversation I've had with students a lot, a version of this conversation that I've had with students a lot, where like a kid will be like, I got a C on a test. Is my life over? And it's like this idea that like you like this notion, and I heard so many very anxious children say this to me, this notion of being a failure in life, that if I don't do X, Y, and Z, I will be a failure in life. It's like, there's just no like, it doesn't exist until you're dead. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
There's always opportunity to do something else. I just got fired from being a teacher. I'm not dead. I'm going to do something else. My house burned down in 2016. I didn't die. Everything was fine. It's like, bad things happen to people and you just move on. And it's like you, as long as you're still alive, you have an opportunity to do the things that you want to do.
100%. I had to have a conversation with a very dear friend of mine who committed a felony and is in prison, and her life, it's fucked up to have that situation going, but there's plenty of life to be lived once she gets out, so it's never over.
Yeah.
As long as you're still breathing, it's never over.
Truly.
I'll also say there's
redemption arcs all around.
There's reframing you can do on these things, and I think that's what I was talking about too, with just not putting the pressure on yourself in whatever way. But like even negative experiences, like I've had a million bad dates and depression. I'm going through a breakup right now still. I'm like moving this weekend out of a shared apartment. I was living with a partner. And like, yeah, that shit sucks. But also, I think I'm good on our show because I've been through stuff like that. And I noticed that like other people I've dated and been candid about this stuff, other people have similar experiences. And to be able to speak from a place of like, I've been through hard shit, but I still back myself and I'm still like, having a good time with things. That's a really powerful energy to give off. And I think you just lean into that. Chalk it up to life experience and keep on trucking. That's my general advice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I that is from Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Can I get a quick, before we move on to the next question, can I get a quick joke explainer? When he said, do we need to start using contracts like brokers? What does he mean?
No idea.
For the young heads here.
I didn't get that joke. Did anybody else?
Does he mean like, hey, I'm 40 and you're 40. Let's sign a relationship contract for practicality?
I think it might be a lot. I think it might be like hiring a broker to find you a house. It's like hiring a broker to find you a partner.
Oh, okay. See, we got this. I knew the question was for you, Alex. I knew this is all.
What the fuck, dude?
We're too young. We don't know what this means. We're too young for this.
What is a
Young
broker?
people don't know what brokers are. You think they have money? What the fuck is that?
I don't know, man. In New York City, you can't get a house without a broker, or can't get an apartment. Yeah, it's a nightmare. Don't move to New York City. It sucks. Super expensive. And the brokers, when I started, this is some old man shit. When I started renting in 2005, they would charge you a month's rent for getting an apartment. Like you'd have to pay them. You'd have to pay them. You think that's bad? Now it's like 15% of your yearly rent. You have to pay
Yikes!
to a broker in New York City.
That's insane.
Take
no
a
thanks.
bite.
I was in middle school in 2005. Next question. I've been happily in a relationship for over 2 years at this point, but one of my friends is struggling a lot with dating apps / getting ghosted / people not wanting a relationship with him. Wait, they're asking a question for a friend? That's so cute.
I love that.
And
He
I
loves his
honestly, I honestly don't know how to respond because I never feel like I can give advice as I've been out of the dating scene for a while now. The topic comes up like every other time we hang out, and it just kind of makes things awkward as nobody really knows what to respond with. What should I do to help him? And that's from Tyler.
Shit.
All right. What kind of friend is this? Is this just like a guy?
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? If this is just a guy that you've known, and like if this is a ride or die homie, you got to get out there and find some puss for your homie. I'm just. What are you doing, Tyler? What are you asking us for? Get out there, hit the trenches, get your friend a date. What are you doing, pal?
Scare up some scrounge. Let's see
If
it.
this is just a guy that you've known for a while and like then they show up to a party every now and then or something, it's like, oh fuck them, that's their business. But I don't know. You have your circle and you don't. If that person's in your circle, you got to get in the fight.
I dig that. I dig that energy.
I feel like if he's asking for him, he might be in the circle. You know, like
Yeah.
he's in there maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like it seems like he cares about him. He's asking for him, trying to get some help somehow. Yeah.
If you don't
Okay.
have specific advice on this, like honestly, just being there to listen and then try to hype your buddy up. That's
Yeah.
basically what you can do. I am
Okay,
wondering
sure.
with them saying it comes up every other time. Like, has this been going on for a while? Is this a constant enough thing that it's like, fuck, he talks about this every fucking time we hang out and I don't know what to say and it's getting exhausting. It might be a thing of like, is this person depressed? Can you offer some like mental health support of some kind? Because that, I don't know, it sounds almost like a lack of awareness, cry for help kind of thing. And like,
Sure.
again, depends on the context of this friendship, but how often is this happening, I guess, is how long has it been going on, I guess is my question.
So for me, I actually kind of have experience with this. I knew someone back in college, pretty close friend at the time, not as much anymore. I saw him like maybe a year ago last. But back in college, I had this friend who basically same deal. He had a horrible breakup that with someone that he really cared about. And for like years, probably close to like 3 years, he couldn't move on. He was just like so focused on it. And he would try to move on and he would like try to go on dates or whatever, but he just was kind of same situation as this, just like, oh, I can't find anyone. And it's like, I feel like it might be just like that self-doubt. It's like that you're like, you feel so down about yourself and you just like don't have faith in yourself or that confidence. I think it's hard to tell someone else like, oh, just have confidence, you know, like you can't just force someone to have confidence. That just doesn't really work. But I feel like this is one of those type of scenarios where the dude maybe just, and for lack of a better way to put this, he just doesn't have good vibes. Maybe he's like depressed. Yeah. I think he's just not in a good spot. And I mean, people can date like whenever they want in their life, but I feel like it's hard to get into a really good, strong relationship when you're not in a really good place. If that makes sense.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been that person. And I think that the point I had to finally get to was like, oh, fuck, I need to figure my own shit out. And whether that's getting, like, find a fucking artistic outlet or start going to therapy. Like, start focusing that as opposed to, I need to find a date and that will fix all of this, because that's not how that works.
Right. And yeah, completely.
I find a lot of times when somebody is in a funk like this and they're feeling kind of trapped, they'll say the same thing, which is, I'm not good at anything.
Yeah.
And what I'm about to say is not going to help them at all, but it's true. You can direct them to the personal qualities, like the things that make them special that they don't think of as important. You can be like, well, you're really empathetic, like you listen when we talk, and that's a really valuable thing. They'll be like, yeah, but you're kind of supposed to do that. It's, fucking me. And maybe that kind of drills through eventually, but you just kind of redirect them to the things about themselves that are valuable and that you value in them. And maybe that'll kind of help pull them up.
Yeah. I like if they're shitting on themselves, being like, I'm friends with you. It's not for no fucking reason. This, and this. Stop fucking hating on yourself.
Yeah, this is an actual conversation Donovan and I have had.
Yeah,
I've been
to each other.
Yeah.
Both directions.
Yeah.
Tyler, it sounds like you got to get your friend to subscribe to a Ritter-free tote bag.
Absolutely.
Yeah, get on that Patreon.
$5 a month gets you 4 bonus episodes every month. $10 a month gets you a shout out at the end of every bonus episode, baby. Let's go.
Tyler, for a mere $10 a month, can you imagine your friend's name in lights 4 times a week?
That'll cure him.
I think as a general rule, if you're like, what can I do for my friend or loved one that can help? I think the answer to that is usually along the lines of like something practical, something that can actually like be a thing you do, like going out of the house and being like a wingman for them, like Caleb was saying, or some type of way of physically helping rather than just being that listener, if that's what you want to do. If you want to figure out how to help, I think it should be an action that you take.
I like that.
I like that too. I've dealt with a lot of fucking depression, and I still do. I think of it a lot of times as like a momentum that I have to keep up, and if I lose momentum, I kind of get stuck down in the depression. And so with what you're saying, like, if your friend, especially if he's holing up a lot or not getting out much, if you can be like, I got us 2 tickets to this fucking show you like, or like, I've been doing biking or something, would you want to like go with me sometimes? Because then you've got the person accompanying you, and that makes it easier to get out. And then I think that can kind of get that momentum started where you're like, oh, wait a second, like I'm out and moving. That immediately makes you feel better. Oh, wait, shit, there's shit in life that's good. And like I have this relationship with this person I care about. Maybe I don't suck. And that kind of thing can like really get somebody going. You just have to get that movement started somewhere. And it can be hard to get that up if you're just super in the depression hole by yourself like this. And he's just fixated on, fucking dating's not working out. I'm going to be alone forever. You could go fucking climb some rocks. You can go rock climbing, baby. You're going to be 20 feet off the ground. Oh, everything's going to be looking so much brighter from up there.
Yeah. All right. I think we can do one more for the main feed here. This is from Owen at SoftManBoy. He asked me to shout out his and I will read what it says. He sent me this message that says, "Hi, Wack. About a month ago, my girlfriend told me she was thinking about us breaking up, despite still being in love with me, because she feels that we're in different places in our lives and we aren't growing together like we were at the beginning of our relationship. We decided to stay together for the time being, but it feels like the sword of Damocles is hanging over my head, so to speak. For context, I just graduated college and I am working part-time at a movie theater, while she graduated a few years back and has been working full-time as a journalist ever since we started dating. We're both in our mid-20s and have been dating for a year. I love her dearly and would have a very hard time letting her go. But our conversation highlighted a lot of truth to her perspective. As much as I hate to admit it, a breakup could certainly be a motivator for me to get a new job or just generally be less stagnant in life. But I'm also not sure I necessarily have to choose one over the other. I'd appreciate your take and or general advice for dating as a young person who's still figuring out their career/life plan. Thanks.
There is a very gross saying that I heard about teenagers once they decide to have sex.
Oh boy.
And it goes, once they get it in their head, it's only a matter of time till they get it in their ass. Horrible. Horrible thing to say.
Wow.
Awful.
Wow.
Awful. It's horrifying.
I actually get the analogy, but that's not
Yes.
good.
It's not good.
What a pull.
No, not saying that's good. It's just been rattling around in my head because a fucking pervert said it to me 30 years ago. But once the idea has been floated, once the trial balloon has gone up, that it might be a breakup, I feel like it's only a matter of time until it actually happens.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure to try to like continue on as normal in the relationship with. At the same time, though, like, I don't know, I like where your head's at the end, where you're like, I hate to admit it, but shit, maybe this could get me motivated. And then you're like, well, maybe I don't have to choose one over the other. It sounds like you're recognizing like the fucking time right out of college is such a brutal time. You're trying to figure out like what the fuck you're even gonna do. Maybe you went down like a education path you didn't love, and you're like, what the fuck do I do now? Like I'm doomed. And that's definitely not the case. But like it could be it's a figuring out period. It's a really, really big figuring out period for a lot of people. Your partner's older than you. It sounds like she's in a career that she likes a lot and she's working full time there and she's probably like growing with that. And you said you're working at a movie theater. I don't get the impression that's what you want to be doing. And you're kind of like, fuck, I don't have a direction here. Like that energy mismatch, I totally get that throwing off the relationship. But I think it goes a long way, and maybe it is a breakup that's necessary. But the fact that you're like, no, shit, I recognize that. I want to figure this out. I feel like to communicate that to your partner, there might be something there of like, hey, I feel you. I'm not happy where I'm at right now either, but I value this relationship and I want to figure this out. I don't just want to like coast here. Again, it might still be that you got to break up, but I don't know. I think you got a mature angle on this. The way you're reading this at the end, I think you're doing good introspection. I'd try to have a conversation there. But I think that's better than just like putting this in the back of your mind and just trying to keep going, because it's such a fucking crazy pressure to be like, is it going to be today that it ends? Like that's so much to try to like be normal with.
It's got to be addressed, and you got to figure out how to sort of incorporate that energy into the relationship, because if it's a matter of we are growing apart, it's like, okay, how do I advance? How do I get to a place where I feel like a real equal to you in the relationship? Because there's a sense of, like, you hear people say, like, I'm going to get a real job. Like, the movie theater is not, as it might be said, though all work is work, that's not like a real job compared to like a journalist. And so you feel
it's just not
lesser.
Pay, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the pay. So maybe you figure on using that to motivate yourself and make that clear to her that you're like, I have taken this as sort of a wake-up call. I don't want to fall behind, and I want to continue to grow in this relationship with you. So what do I got to do? And then figure that out.
And that still is on you for the figure out part. And like, no matter what happens here, like that is just start trying to figure that out. And whether that means just sitting and being like, what could I do that I would not hate? Or even in other areas, like, are there creative things I could throw myself into? Like, what can I change up so that I'm not, sitting around feeling bummed and confused and then going to work and coming back exhausted because fucking service work is so emotionally and energy fucking taxing. Just start thinking through that stuff. But also here, again, completely fucking normal to be out of college and be like, fuck, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't. It will work out. So make sure you're not, getting too doom and gloom in this place, because it's just a tough time.
Yeah.
I think one thing that might work is next time you're in bed, you have to try the goblin mode activated thing that solved that one relationship. They're still together. They're in love still. I think you have to try that. Yeah, 100% to this day.
They're very real.
That's the
worked
cure
it
to
out. They're still in love.
It's the cure to every problem, as far as I can tell. As 100% win rate so far.
Have you considered hoarding some loot, making a stash?
I talked to this guy for a while. I talked to Owen for a while. We went back and forth, and I had a lot of sympathy because it is obviously a very tough situation, and it doesn't really sound like there's anything happening that like they need to break up. It's like, I don't know. Like I would very much like to hear what she has to say about it, because I didn't really hear a lot of. He says he doesn't want to invalidate. He said I could share the whole conversation. So he said he didn't want to invalidate her feelings, but he really doesn't have an argument against some of the stuff she said. He didn't really tell me a lot of the stuff she said. She did say that it's maybe unfair of her to be a little impatient about him finding a job.
Considering the state of the world is deterioration.
Real. Yeah. I don't know. I think that he said he feels like it's a right person, wrong time sort of situation, or could potentially be one. Again, I don't really have that. I don't have that experience, but it is, obviously very difficult and painful. And I think that there's no real like easy way to do what you're doing. And so I do have a lot of, my heart goes out to you and her, because I would very much like to know how it works out. And I hope that it does, whether or not you guys stay together, I hope that that you guys are able to make the right decision.
I think there's an important thing there too, is just it's gonna work out no matter what, even if this doesn't, even if the relationship doesn't. Like, a ton of people break up right out of college. It is such a transitional time. None of that's unusual. I don't mean to invalidate that it sucks, because it fucking sucks. And that's such a stressful thing. But like, everything's going to be easier if you just keep coming back to and try and remind yourself, like, this is normal. This will work out in some way. And ultimately, like, it's good to not just fall into something. It's good to like examine, am I on the path I want to be? You don't want to be locked in this relationship and then realize in like 20 years, fuck, I just like coasted with this. I didn't get to that point of fulfillment. So try to like just keep that confidence in the back of your mind. It'll put the effort in on yourself on here. Whatever's going to happen here is going to happen, but it'll work out. And you're treating this thoughtfully already. And that's more than a lot of fucking people could say in this kind of situation. I think you're addressing this really, really well.
Caleb, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't want to be like pessimistic, but if like barring like couples therapy or some sort of like very intentional and meaningful action taken on both of your parts, if you're talking about ending it, I just kind of think if that's the headset that you're in, and I kind of feel like, I don't know, I'm projecting a little bit, but if you're reaching out and asking about this, it's almost like you're like asking permission in a way. Like, is this okay to let go of? If you're saying like, I think that this might be good for me, maybe you're feeling that yourself a little bit, and that's okay too, right? If that's what you're thinking, and you have maybe some sense of adventure, I guess, brewing in your mind for what your future could look like if this isn't going to work out, chase that feeling, because you're about to go through something really shitty by going through this breakup. But that kind of like vagrant optimism, that adventure that you're feeling, I know you are, what things could look like, that's what you got to be focusing on when you're going through all this. So if that's something, an inclination that you're feeling, don't deny it, chase it. That's the only advice I have.
Damn, yeah.
I love that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, so that's where we'll end the premium or the free episode. We will be behind the paywall. We have a few more questions to answer. I'm glad we got to do that one for Owen. He said it would mean a lot if we did, so I'm glad we got to. You guys want to plug your stuff before we head into the paywall?
Let's fucking go. It's Radio Free Tote Bag. It's a dating and relationship advice show. We've been going for 5 years. We answer listener questions. You can write in anonymously. We've had everybody on this program on. We've had John McAfee on for some reason at one point. We've had Vic Berger, Aiden Arada, all kinds of internet people, and I don't know, folks who you may even know from this show. I think we've got some crossover. Comedy show, but we give sincere advice, and I don't know, we got a fucking great community going. We love doing it. Check us out, rftb.me, at rftbpod on Twitter, Instagram. Find us through that.
I also have a Digimon show that I do with my partner Corla. Yes. It's called Data Transfer, a trans feminine reading of the Digimon Adventures animated series. Go check it out wherever you find podcasts. It's unfucking hinged. Check this out.
This is somehow the horniest program I've ever heard. It is more horny than our sex advice program.
Yeah.
So if I know nothing about Digimon, how will I feel about this podcast?
You will fall in love with the chemistry between me and my partner. It's infectious.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, cool.
I don't know anything about the show. I even went on and it was a chaotic blast.
Just let it wash over you. Yeah. You know?
That's the best way to take in Digimon.
All right, awesome. So definitely, and what is it called? What is
Data
it called
Transfer.
Data Transfer. Awesome. Okay, yeah, and you can follow us on patreon.com/Western Kabuki to hear the rest of our conversation. Thank you so much for listening.